Entitlement reaches all walks of life, as you'll find out in this episode of Entitled People. Our first one is from Mr. Coco1234. So this happened yesterday, and I'm still trying to process the sheer audacity of it all, while also smug at the result. It's Ramadan, and like most malls here, they open at 3 p.m. on weekdays and stay open until 3 a.m. Plenty of time for everyone to shop, eat, and do whatever they need. But apparently, that wasn't enough for one ultra-entitled Karen who thought she was above the rules. I got to the mall around 2:30 p.m. to grab a good parking spot before the pre-iftar rush to catch some shopping for my wife. A few other cars had already started forming a queue outside the parking entrance, all of us patiently waiting for security to open the gates at 3 p.m. sharp. Everything was normal, until I heard Her Royal Highness Karen rolled up in her big black pickup truck with 2 private security guards in tow. She pulls up right next to the security gate, completely ignoring the queue, rolls down her window, and tells the mall security, "Open the gate now, I have things to do." The guard politely tells her that the mall isn't open yet and that she needs to queue like everyone else. But of course, Karen doesn't take no for an answer. "Do you know who I am? Do you see my guards? I don't wait in lines." She then literally waves at her guards, who step out with their guns like they're about to escort her to the throne room, and they start demanding that security let her through. The mall security guys, to their credit, stood their ground. "Ma'am, no one enters before 3 p.m. Please queue like everyone else." Karen scoffs and pulls out her phone to record, demanding to speak to the manager. At this point, the rest of us in line are just watching in anger and disbelief, further amplified due to the lack of energy and sheer heat. A few minutes later, the mall manager shows up, looking visibly annoyed. He walks right up to Karen's car and, in the most CEO voice imaginable, he tells her, "Ma'am, your guards do not dictate mall policy. If you want to enter, you wait like everyone else. Now take your guards and move to the back of the line." "This is unacceptable. I'll be calling my husband and reporting you." "You can report me after you move your car." Absolute legend. The best part? Karen actually shut up and sulked off to the back of the line, her guards looking completely useless. Moral of the story? Even if you bring your own goons, mall security still doesn't care. Happy Ramadan, everyone. Don't be like Karen. Have respect for people. Well, it's good to know that Karens are all over the world, doesn't matter where, and they're always trying to do the most Karen shit. And it's equally satisfying when a Karen gets shut down, as in this case. This next one is by DeFoxtrot86. My sister is the worst person I've ever met in my life. And while I'm no expert in diagnosing people, I'm pretty sure she's a covert narcissist. Though it's certainly not covert anymore, and I intend to write many posts about her in time. This one just happened to be the story I thought to start with. I will say in advance that my sister's husband did divorce her, and eventually took full custody of the kids later as well. This story I'm about to tell happened around 7 years ago. Back then, my sister had destroyed her own marriage with a mixture of infidelity and narcissism. She still thinks I don't know she was a cheater because she cried to me for years that she doesn't do that and cheating is a deal breaker for her. But she had 3 different affairs that I know of, one with a cousin of ours. Anyway, she split from her husband and they sold their house. She then ended up living out of an old 30-foot trailer on the family property next to the sub-building I live out of. Her children were all extremely undisciplined and made us miserable. My sister also refused to get a job. When confronted, she'd cry and say it would just be till her kids were back in school. Well, her kids went back to school and she still didn't get a job, and would cry again if confronted. Then she ended up begging her husband to get back together with her by calling him up in tears because she was broke, but she lied to everyone else and said that didn't happen. She finally did get a job, and she obviously hated it, but pretended to like it for years. My sister's ex tried to give their marriage one more chance and move into the trailer with her, but she made him miserable for over a year. He bought her a pug puppy because she wanted a dog. Then she wanted another dog, so he decided to get a German Shepherd since he wanted a dog he could enjoy too. She did not like that dog, so he ended up getting her another pug too, and those pugs crapped everywhere. Then one day, the refrigerator in the trailer started malfunctioning, and its days were clearly numbered. My brother-in-law went out to a used appliance store and got both a refurbished refrigerator and a microwave bundled together. Then he and the delivery guy had a hell of a time getting it out and installing it. On top of that, he bought all new fresh food for the new refrigerator and packed it full of good stuff. He was practically beaming to see her come home and see the new fridge. But not only was she completely ungrateful, she was angry. My sister came home from work, and her reaction to the new fridge was initially completely emotionless, like she had ice in her veins. And then she suddenly stomped forward, opened the new fridge and said, "Where's my food?" There was never any sort of thank you from her. She just demands to know where the old food was. We found out years later she was an expired food hoarder. Among other things, she had an unopened large bottle of ketchup that was so old the contents had turned brown, and she was feeding crap like that to her kids. My sister's husband was so upset she wasn't happy with the new fridge that he just gave up on trying to please her, and eventually he left again. He bought a new house for himself, and that's where he, all my nephews, and his current girlfriend all live. And he's doing great as a dad. But my sister eventually lost everything, and she blames everyone but herself. Unfortunately, there's just some people that live in permanent denial, and it seems like the sister in this story is one of those kinds of people. But the difference is she's living in a permanently entitled denial, where she just feels like the world owes her, but she doesn't owe anything. Not even kind treatment or gratitude. And our final one is from Gentle Soul. I work for a solid waste company that collects curbside garbage, recycling, and compost, and I've been there for a year. I never realized how serious some customers take their curbside collections before working at this company. Long post, and it is necessary for a background. So last week our area had a severe windstorm that knocked out power lines, downed trees, downed active power lines, and disrupted power to over 100,000 residents. Our office had generators, so we were able to conduct business, and our drivers did the best they could. Many streets were closed because of downed power lines or downed trees. Most of the residents were without power for 2 days. Our drivers tried the best they could to collect trash and recycle bins, and are still trying to catch up on those streets that were closed. So today I get a call from an irate customer that we did not collect his trash this week. In looking at the account, the driver did not collect because there was a downed wire blocking access. The driver provided a photo showing a downed wire across a very narrow dirt driveway with large trees on either side. The wire went at an angle, looked like it was 3 feet off the ground at one side and maybe 10 to 12 feet on the other. I explained to the customer that we could not safely access his home, and he told me, 1, he drove his 13.5-foot tall RV back and forth with no problems. Why is he driving his RV back and forth? 2, a propane truck had no problem accessing his driveway. 3, did we report the issue to the electric company? Not our responsibility. 4, I asked him if he had reported the down wire to the electric company, and he stated that he had, it was not live, and it wasn't their wire. Nobody knew whose wire it was. 5, I told him our drivers could not take a risk driving a large body truck, 33 feet long, 8 feet wide, 13 feet tall, through a downed wire, as there were safety and liability issues. I said our operations manager would do a site check to determine if the site and access were safe, but if the downed line was not belonging to the electric company, we still cannot resume services until we determine the line is out of the way, who the line belongs to, and is also safe to proceed. He went ballistic, accused our company of incompetence, going to report us to the BBB, tell everyone on social media how horrid we are, and the list goes on. All over a missed garbage bin collection because a massive storm downed power lines. Over 100,000 households lost power, many streets were closed, but our drivers were still out there doing their best. This is one of those cases where there's just so many people affected with all of this, you just can't please everyone. And unfortunately, there's people like this entitled person who acts like they're the only person on the planet, they're the only person experiencing problems, so they need to be serviced immediately right away. Even if we all know that's not how it really works. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled People. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.